Hello there and welcome. Today we're gonna talk about the question whether you should buy a Seagull 1963 or a Baltic Bicompax 002. A while ago I saw a photo of a Baltic watch on Instagram. I really liked the dial and instantly went down the rabbit hole that is researching a brand. Baltic is a small French company that produces watches ranging from divers to chronographed dress watches. Since I already own a lot of automatic dive watches, a hand-wound chronograph seemed like a perfect addition to my collection. The Bicompax 002 in white is beautiful, so I chose to read a few reviews of the watch. During this reading, I often stumbled upon the comment that the movement, a Seagull ST1901, is cheap, which makes the watch a bit overpriced. Back to research it was, and this time for the ST1901 movement. It turns out that there is a watch from the company that produces the ST1901 movement, the Seagull 1963. This watch has the same movement as the Baltic Bicompax, comes with either acrylic or sapphire crystal and only costs $300. Like the Baltic watch, it has a 38mm diameter but doesn't even cost half of what Baltic charges at $650. The Seagull 1963 as well as the movement have a long history in China. The movement was originally a Swiss Venus 175 before the company sold the blueprints and all the necessary production tools to a Chinese company, Seagull. China wanted a reliable and cheap watch for their Air Force pilots, and this movement was a perfect fit. Seagull produced the movement and the 1963 watch for a while, but inevitably stopped making it at one point due to the limited use of it being a military pilot's watch. Today, the same company which produced the original Seagull 1963 pilot's watches again manufactures the watch and movement. With a column wheel, 45 hours of power reserve and a frequency of 21,600 beats per hour, the caliber is nice but nothing special. Nonetheless, a manual column wheel chronograph movement always makes for an eye-catcher with a see-through caseback. I'll never get tired of seeing every cog move, activating the chronograph and differentiating the purpose of each wheel. For a person who loves mechanics, but who also doesn't want to spend a lot of money, this is the perfect movement. As you might expect at the price of $100 for the movement only, it's not perfect. The screws are not heat blued but painted, and you can see the silver beneath shining through at some spots. All of the cogs and plates do have a finish, but you can see scratches and slight imperfections if you look close enough. Does all of this make the movement bad or not worth it? No, not in any way. For the money, the caliber is complex and a high level of finish would only make it more expensive. A more expensive movement would only push the prices of many watches up or make the watch brands choose a different movement instead. With the movement out of the way, we can talk about the watch itself. The original Seagull 1963 had a domed acrylic crystal at a diameter of 38mm. Today, there are a few major and a handful of minor differences, which you should look out for. First off, you can choose between 38mm and 42mm. Either size can be had with acrylic or sapphire crystal. After selecting your preferred version, in my case a 38mm watch with a sapphire crystal, since I tend to maltreat my watches quite a lot. The small details come into play. At some point, the movement as well as the watch itself were slightly changed, and not all resellers tell you which variant they are selling. The movement is obtainable with the swan neck regulator or without one. If you don't know what a swan neck regulator is, it's this piece, which generally makes regulating a watch easier. Caseback wise, there are also two different designs. One has a bigger see-through area, whereas the other one has a thicker metal border. All of this makes getting the perfect Seagull 1963 not as easy as it may seem at first. After holding the watch in my hand for the first time, I was surprised by how good it feels. The case, the logo on the crown, the pushers, and even the rather hard mechanical feel you get while activating the chronograph all feel way better than I expected it to for $300. The champagne colored dial looks beautiful with that ever so slight bit of texture that it has to it, and the red star brings just the right amount of contrast. Slightly raised, the indices are nicely applied, look sharp and add a bit of depth to the watch face, which makes it look more interesting. With all of this said, we can go back to the original question. Should you buy a Seagull 1963 instead of a Baltic Bicompax 002? If you are like me, you are interested in the history behind the watch. You sometimes appreciate the movement more than pure aesthetics, and you do care about your budget, then I would say the Seagull 1963 is the better choice for you. If you're just in love with the dial of the Baltic Bicompax, then it also is the right choice. In the end, it is your subjective opinion, and no one can or should tell you what to like. Which of those two watches would you choose and why? If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if it wasn't your cup of tea, tell me why in the comments down below.